What's up, Shadows? I wanted to talk to you guys about your scrum series against LG Vesper. Over the notes that I'd taken over game two, I did step away right around the 15 or 20-minute marker, and then I came back a little bit later, so I kind of just stopped taking my notes, and then I was asking the other witnesses to the spectacle on their opinions on how the game was going and everything else. And then I just watched the rest of the game from that point on. So to make up for it, I wanted to talk a little bit about our comp type and everything else. But first, I want to dive in a little bit towards the rune choices that we've made this game, starting from Scion down. Um, so for Scion, I think you did mostly correct things. I do enjoy the grasp. I enjoy the overgrowth, and the conditioning is also fine. Demolish, as we've previously mentioned, Demolish is really good if you are in lanes that you were able to proc it, whereas you're probably going to get bullied a little bit for attempting to charge your Q, and Gragas has his E button, so likely he's just going to stop you, and you're not really going to get a whole lot of wave clearing done until he presses B, and then you can look to get your Demolish charge off, right? And then since you have one rune right there that isn't really going to do a whole lot for you, and then a second one that isn't going to kick in until 12 minutes, you need something to help sustain you, right? So taking coal doesn't do a whole lot for you besides like getting you a little bit extra gold for that +1, but also the extra 3 HP bag every auto that you do. Just look to take D shield. It gives you so much more benefits than just getting a coal does, right? And I know you might counter with some like Bouse clip or whatever that goes like he takes it, he's one of the best fucking Scion players out there, yeah. Like, but consistently in higher elos and pro games that have been starting out for this year, they're all taking D shield and like every matchup. So something tells me that we should also probably pivot into D shield start instead of this Cole start, especially whenever like we're going to be taking quite a bit of damage against the Scrogus, right? But yeah, that way it helps us like survive till 12 minutes, and then we can actually get our conditioning in, and then we can get a little tankier and survive a little bit easier. Now I want to talk to the Trundle. So you can't really go wrong with the choices that you made. You're never going to change your secondary tree. You're not taking Triumph off. You're always going to keep Alacrity. You can pivot Kuningra or cut down. I think that's fine. Or even Last Stand. Really depends on how you want to play the game, or like what the team has drafted, or what like we're playing against. It should be fine. The main one that you're going to be changing from game to game will be press the attack versus lethal tempo. You made the correct choice by taking PTA here, and I want to tell you when to pick both going forward, right? So going forward, press the attack is really good whenever you are able to play out winning matchups in the jungle. So since like you're going to be coin flipping a lot of these scuttles on like um, is he going to be there or not, right? And in this matchup, we got the counter pick from the jungle, so that way, whenever you go to this first crab, and if Jin Zhao's there, you win based on your kit and your rune choice alone. Because if we take a look at this, please go back to my jungle, thank you. If we take a look at this, you took PTA and he took Conqueror. So just from that alone, you're going to proc your PTA first and burst him down, and since we have healing from our Q and everything else, and we've got to disrupt with our E, if he fucks up and gets scared and starts to flash away, if he presses flash, then you press pillar, and you just walk him down because you have a W, so you also get the MS and the attack speed, right? Feels way, way better. So your champion just does infinitely more early on than his does, right? So that's good. You want to take lethal tempo whenever you are playing into these like tankier comps that would have something like Ornn or Scion or Malphite top lane, or like a Malphite jungle, Sejuani jungle, Skarner, Zac, and then some tank support with like Nautilus, Alistar, Rel, right? Where it requires much more damage to get through the front line, because it would be your job to press R on the tank and take their stats and then just kill them. you know, basically be the Hulk Buster of the team, if you will. But yeah, so PTA really good at this game. Low HP targets, really good to burst them down, blow them up before they get to play the game, and then that is good. Moving on, I would like to talk about the Syndra. All right, hi low HP Syndra. So I've been looking at a lot of the meta recently that a lot of the better Syndra players are kind of done with the first strike a little bit here. Because a lot of the value that you want from inspiration is mostly from like your triple tonic and like boots or what have you, right? So there's a lot more like champion mastery being expressed from the sorcery tree right now. And so like for this game in particular, you want to go like Comet, Mana Flow, Transcendence with Gathering Storm. It allows you to get more poke, more damage in with the Comet, but also you get Scorch with your Comet. Or not Scorch, Gathering Storm. You will be able to scale as the game progresses, and it's going to feel a little bit better. And then you will get your like cashback and triple tonic if that's what you desire, or your boots and triple tonic, right? As long as you take triple tonic, you're in a really good matchup post level 1, and then after that you should be able to do fine, and then with the advantage in your court, then after that you can pop your triple tonic, get stronger, play out the lane, hopefully get a free solo kill, or just have mid prio, and then you guys just get to stack these dragons, get dragon soul, and just win the game from that point on, right? They should be able to play the game, so that part's good. We got you into a really good one there. Skipping past the Syndra though, I guess before I fully do, you can flex from Comet to like Phase Rush in matchups where you're probably going to need it. So like you can take Phase Rush against like Talia, for example, whenever they're just trying to look to combo you down, run at you, and then just flip you back, and then that way you're flipped into Minefield or like a jungler nearby, right? But yeah, that way we understand when to take it and when not to take it. Okay, looking at the Varus, great job, great rune choices, really happy to see it. Your lethality, can't really go wrong with sorcery. You took all the correct ones for that. Understanding when to change your inspiration though is a big plus. So I'm really happy seeing cashback, really happy seeing triple tonic. If you're against champs like Ashe, Leona, or Seraphine, something like that where you're probably going to need more summer spells to play out your lane phase, making sure that you're not dying or whatever. Probably look at taking Cosmic Insight with triple tonic. That way you're not dropping your lane aggression, and you're also getting your reduced cooldown on your summoner spells. That will feel infinitely better in those matchups, but for this one you did the correct choice. And then I want to skip over you and go to the Karma next. Now with Karma, I have been looking at a lot of them skipping past the airy bits, which it's still like okay. It's not the greatest one. A lot of them are currently running Comet, Nimbus, Absolute Focus, and Scorch with boots and Cosmic Insight. And the reasoning behind that is whenever you are like Lethality Varus and a Karma into a Lucian Milio lane, you have the advantage in the lane. You're going to poke them down. They don't have too much sustain to make up for everything else, right? So whenever like level 1, for example, like Varus is going to start his E, and if he lands it he gets Comet, and then you just press RQ and then you get that plus Comet, right? And then you'll also have Scorch as well. So there's going to be so much more damage being put out there that's going to be very beneficial with you. And I know you're probably wondering why the fuck are you taking Nimbus. Nimbus and Cosmic Insight works really well together, especially with the way like heals cooldown is, right? It's in that sweet spot like right between barrier and flash. So it's not super long, but it's also not like really short either, where we just kind of want to like blow it willy-nilly, you know? And then absolute focus, we have a shield, we can mitigate damage, we can try to stay above that 70% HP bar, right? So we maintain that. Now the reasoning why past this as well is because with Atacon leaving the game now, there's a lot more focus on these dragons, so they went back up in value. And then we need stronger bot lanes now, so that's why like drafting Varus Karma is a lot better than like Lucian Milio. Ideally you win the bot lane, you get dragons, you get Drag Soul, yada yada, right? And then hopefully by that point you have Drag Soul, then you can just look to play for like Baron and then just kind of like win the game because you have Drag Soul, and then they are like forced to contest Baron and then just coin flip their game, you know? But yeah, now then, talked about that. I want to talk to you guys about the comp type that we have drafted you guys. It is a poke and zone comp. So ideally before fights, what we would like to do is use our bot laners, the Varus and the Karma, to get quite a lot of poke on before these team fights happen or like objectives happen. That way we can get them low and they have to enter fights at like 70 or 80% of their HP bar. That would be really beneficial for us. And then looking at that, some of the pros that we get is we have a lot of poke. We also have a lot of zone control. We have Trundle Pillar, we have Scion Q, we have a Scion ult, and then we also have like Karma ult Q, and we've got like Syndra E, so we can deny a lot of engage from their Gragas, the Xin Zhao, and even like Lucian walking up trying to step on one of the carries. We can deny quite a bit of it if we use our tools correctly, right? So it's really hard for them to start fights unless they just like pull the trigger immediately and then they just get on top of us and we're a little too slow in our buttons, you know? Only human. So what are some of the weaknesses for this comp? Flanks. And really the only one we gotta be super wary of is this Gragas, because their main engage this game is their Xin Zhao, who's a skirmisher, and really we're just afraid of Gragas basically dropping a fucking nuke on our head by just separating everybody, and then we have to try to like scramble to get back together and reestablish a line, and then making sure none of our carries die, right? That would be ideal. But they have like no real flanks. If it was like a Katarina or like a Kayn or like an Akali, that's a little bit different, but they have none of those tools to them. The other weakness is they have would be sustain. And they don't have sustain either. They don't have a Soraka support. They don't have like a Dr. Mundo top. They don't have something like I guess like a drain tank, like a Swain on their team, right? So there's nothing really there to prevent our team from just kind of like blowing them up and then just trying to like walk past, right? Because that's all we're really going to do. Other than that, what counters us is hard engage tools. So like Malphite, Nocturne, like Alistar, right? Champs that just kind of like immediately get on us, and like we really can't do anything about it because then we would have to change our draft around. That would not be this, you know? But yeah. Now that I've talked about that, I want to go past all of that and talk about the notes, and by resetting this game here. Going to roughly 25 seconds, I would like to talk, starting out about the jungle. It's going to be a bit of a multi thing here. So Trundle's positioning, I don't really care too much about, because I do believe whenever you're looking to play out the start of a game, you mostly want to play like at a 5 point, right? And so what I mean by that fuck off thing is I would prefer it if Trundle would like walk down mid and then be ready to walk over here and either drop a ward in this bush or drop a ward over this wall if this bush is uncontested, right? If we spot somebody walking down or they're walking up this way into this bush, then we don't need to like ward this bush, right? So what would happen is we open the game here and we would start to look to go in this bush. If someone walks this way, then we can just turn around with some Scooby-Doo noises, right? Because then we could probably guess that somebody's also going to be walking around this way, you know? So if it's uncontested and we don't see anybody here, then we would walk forward. And if this bush is still uncontested, then we can either drop the ward here, or we can hold it by just walking forward just a little bit and then dropping our ward here. And then the moment we drop that ward there, we can come back and then just sit in this bush. That way we can continue holding a nice like little line here, and then we can just pivot towards our blue buff and then just clear accordingly, right? That would be the most like optimal way to play out the start of your game. It's a little silly that I will be watching this and you're gonna sit in this bush here and you're gonna drop a ward and then you're gonna sit in that same bush just kind of like touching yourself, and that's not very good. Soul probably likes it, you know, if it was streamed, but it's not, so whatever. And then we drafted a stronger bot lane than what they had did, right? And so what I would be doing is, if I was in this matchup, is I would be pinging my support that I don't really care to stand over there in that tribe brush, right? I want to play the lane. I would much prefer to stand over here or over here and then like wait to see how they react. Are the is the Lucia and Milio going to be standing behind the minions and walk in the lane, or are they going to be like actually behind the minions, right? And they're going to walk in last, and if they walk in last, we just send a Karma ult Q, and then they get hit. They would get hit by the comet, and then after that Karma can just back up, and then whenever they start walking forward, being a little more confident in lane, we can just send our Varus over and then just throw an E, and then he would also proc his comet, right? And we're getting a shit ton of poke. Because if we look at how they're trying to play this game, it's really hard for them. Because we have double combat sums in our lane, right? We have a barrier and a flash, but then look at this guy. He's got a flash and a cleanse. And like, what is he really looking to cleanse? The Karma root? Like, we're going to poke him down and just run him down anyway, you know? Like, we're actually looking to just be a sniper and just hit him with, like, these charged Varus Qs and, like, random Karma Qs until he just can't play the lane. You really just want to look to bully. And so, he kind of trolls taking this Summoner spell, admittedly. Not the greatest fan of that. But yeah, just look to play your lane, look to get aggressive. That way you get the level 2, you can zone them off, and they start dropping XP, and then you just build up a lead. And then you can crash like that second wave or whatever, right? Would be very, very good. And then we're going to skip, fuck off. We're going to skip ahead to right around 255. So Jin Zhao does some fuck shit. And so one of the cool things we see is he starts stepping on this ward right around here, right? And so without really even needing to press tab, we can tell that he skipped a camp. And the reason how you can tell he skipped a camp is the way that jungle operates, you know? So Trundle is doing his first entire full clear, and he's level 4 because he finished that last camp. So we can see that he went from here, or actually I guess the better way to do it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah? So he did 6 camps. And we can now tell that since this guy is level 3, he only did 5 camps. And he's looking to do his 6th at Gromp. Not Gromp, Scuttle, you know? So now we can tell the moment that we get vision on this guy and we just see his level, we say, hey, he dropped a camp somewhere. Don't know where, but he did. And you can confirm that by pressing tab and looking at a CS, because every camp has a CS value of 4. So then the moment we see all this information pop up, we can just send our Trundle down and take the Scuttle for free, and then he can press B, and that will allow him to have much better tempo towards coming back to his Gromp, right? So that's ideally how this should be playing out, and we can just make sure that our jungler is almost always up 2 camps starting out at the beginning of the game, which for a while ends up being really good. Because we can look at this and we can see that he takes his scuttle, our jungler takes this, he wastes no time, presses his B button, Jin Zhao is taking this camp, and by the time he presses B, look at where Trundle's at. He's actually walking out of base towards his camp. By the time his recall finishes, he's basically at Gromp, it's respawning, he wasted no time, he's here the moment it spawns. And so now we look, Jin Zhao's clear is a little bit slower than Trundle's. So his Gromp hasn't even respawned yet, right? So now we can see that our jungler is going to have a timer to do something on the map before this Jin Zhao can without dropping camps, right? So that part's really good to take note of. So just judging from this, we're going to be able to look at like our jungler being able to clear out his Gromp into Wolves, into Raptors, and then he should have a little timer to play either for top, he could invade their blue side, or he could just gank mid. Spoiler, he just ganks mid. And he kind of overplays it too. So we'll just skip over to that. Alright. So, things happened. We see that our guy is up camps. He's level 5, Jin Zhao's level 4. That's cool. Now, we did a great job by actually ganking this lane because, number one, we have nothing to fucking do. There is no crab, there is no krugs, and we just finished clearing all this shit, so there's nothing here, right? So to make use of our time, you would have to either look top or look mid. And this guy, you really need to blow his flash so you can come back and kill him later, and to also allow Syndra to play her lane a little better, right? So the mistake that we make here is not actually doing the gank, it's just overplaying the gank. We get him low enough to the point where he flashes, and then we kind of get some Warwick vision and we just flash after him to get the kill. But getting a kill onto the Victor and then giving another kill over to them, right? So we're getting one kill, they get one kill. Ideally, we just walk away. Don't get the kill. Plus 400, we get the first blood buff, and then after that, you're going to give 300 to Jin Zhao. You also used your flash. Jin Zhao burns his, but Syndra burns hers, right? So we're down some flashes, and it's not very good. When, if we would have just fucked off immediately after a Victor flash, then we could just step off. Jin Zhao can't actually walk forward in 1v2. We just shove the wave. We let Syndra hit the tower. And then you can just go and you can finish hitting your Krugs, and then you can go look at taking your top crab immediately after this, right? And then we would still hold our flashes, so whenever you do look to come over here and re-gank mid, it's much easier with you guys both having flashes for your team, right? But none of that really happens. We overplayed something, and it is currently costing us quite a bit, actually. Just a few seconds later, since we actually see Jin Zhao go from mid up to our top half of the map, since we don't really have a whole lot to do here, ideally, just shove this wave in real quick here. Just ping that you really want to push it, so we can send our Karma in here to just start like dropping a ward. So you can send your ADC up after the wave is pushed, and he can drop a ward in this bush, and then if he is also being escorted by the Karma, then she can walk over and she can either ward here, she can ward here, or she can ward here. She's got 3 options. Any of them are good options at this point of our process, you know? So it's a little crazy that we're just not shoving them in, not abusing the fact that we could just be getting this easy vision into their jungle. We would be able to spot Jin Zhao a little later, and then that way we could play the game, right? Yeah. And then, since, I guess let's just let this play out, because I need to go from 5:30 to 7:20, right? Yeah. Alright. Now, right around here, whenever I'm looking at this, I can see that you are one camp off level 7, right? So you've basically had a lead for quite a while. You should not even have died yet, right? So potentially you should have time to have already finished like your Raptors had you not died, and then you could be looking to be over here playing for this dragon. But since we have to deal with the situation that we put ourselves into, you're one camp off. So you did the correct thing by hitting blue and coming over here and looking to hit your wolves. So what you need to tell your team is, no, we are not playing for dragon. What I would like to do is play on like the next wave, leaving base, right? So just make sure that you give yourself enough time to hit wolves, hit level 7, and then in the meantime, since you don't want your camps to be like at offset different timers, just walk down and hit your fucking Gromp, and then after that, look to play your dragon, you know? You can play dragon, you can look to gank bot, hell, you could even look to fucking gank mid. I mean, there's plenty of options from you to choose. Because if you actually do this, it allows you to go from here to ganking mid, you can go to dragon, you can go bot lane, or fuck it, you can wrap around and lane gank bot lane, you know? You have plenty of options if you choose this method. Otherwise, you drop it, and then instead of getting your level lead, you're just kicking the dragon, and you're gonna get your level 7 off that. Right? So, little silly, and then also we'd be able to go ahead and look at just putting our camps on a respawn timer. Also, since our red buff is up and we cleared in a like I guess a mirrored state, both junglers started their blue side, so since your red buff is up, we should know that his red buff is up, right? And so we can just walk over and look to invade here, and then we can take his red buff. Otherwise, if he just takes our camps and then into void grubs, and we're just trading neutral objectives, since it looks like we made no plan for these void grubs whatsoever. Support just reopens bot side. Our jungler's down here anyway, so we're just kind of giving it up. Kind of just need to fully commit to just playing for this dragon, and then looking to invade any camps that spawn in their red side jungle, right? So look to do that. Yeah, I don't know, bro. This does not look like a very good sequence at all. Congrats, we got the dragon, but we did it out of order, in my opinion. The next one is 10:30. You gank mid, Syndra lives, we get the kill, and so now all I really want you to do is either help clear this, but preferably instead of walking up into your red side jungle and then just recalling, you could just walk over to your blue side jungle and start hitting camps. Because otherwise you look a little silly by just walking around doing fuck all and then pressing B, because then you came over here on autopilot with nothing to do. Whereas if you use the time that you just fucking like pitter pattered around, you'd be hitting your Gromp, you'd be hitting your wolves, and then, I mean, you'd be killing your Gromp and then towards your wolves. That way you could continue a lead that you've been building, right? I don't know, bro. Clean your fucking shit up. 12:30 is the next one. So, we come over here, we killed the Victor, awesome. We kill this guy, awesome. Love to see it. 2-4-0. So now, what should we do? You ask, why am I here? We shove the wave, hit the tower. Now, does Trundle need to be here? No. Fuck off. Right? We have camps. We have a Raptors, we have a Krog, we also have a blue buff. So just let your Syndra walk forward. She's under no fucking threat of jungle or mid. Their mid doesn't have TP. Their top laner is showing top. throwing fucking hands with your Goliath up there. Their bot lane is showing bot. She's literally under no threat, and the wave is just now being pushed in. If she calls for you to walk over and hit this tower, snort, and then just go, no. And then walk over and hit your camps, because it's better for both of you, and you just shoving mid does nothing for you, right? So let's avoid that. I would just fuck off. You can look. If you take your red side, then you drop dragon because you're too far away from it. Because by the time you finish your raptors into Krugs, Jin Zhao respawns, opens his red side, and then just looks to go and hit dragon. So what you would have to do to play for this dragon is tell your Syndra she can only hit that tower like once, press B, and then she's able to play for dragon. And then you get to walk over, hit your blue buff, take your fucking blue buff, and then look to play on that dragon, right? That's really the only way you get to do this. So mid overstays, you path into red side really badly, and it loses us second dragon. Also, we just happen to be like one camp off of getting our next smite. So if you just kind of like take your blue buff and you walk over and then you start contesting this dragon, nothing really is going to happen to you, you know? Nothing crazy. Because then who's going to outsmite the Trundle? I don't think anybody on their team can. Let's reset for a second. Go back to all this shit happening. If we look at this, we get the wave shoving in, Milio is here, their ADC reset. We get the free hit onto the plate. We also finish our quest. We get a lump sum of 400 fucking gold. So now my ADC has 1040, right? The next component he really wants is fucking Caulfield's Warhammer, which is 1050. All he needs to do is recognize that this play is playing out extraordinarily well. So all you need to do is walk over, press B, and then get your reset, come back with an extra item in your bag, and then let your jungler play his game and let their mid laner walk over here, hit tower, then they press B, then your jungler walks over, hits blue, and then walks down and then hits dragon, and then that allows you, whenever you press B, to walk down here and you can play for this shit, right? It's very, very easy. And then if Karma wants, since their ADC is coming back and their support's here with probably like nothing better to do than just stick around, Karma can actually just come over here and just hold the wave. Just drop your ward, try to clear it. If they walk up to contest, you just fuck off and you just sit here and you just hold the wave here as best as you can within this area, right? Just do your best to just take some damage. You've got a shield to mitigate damage. They literally cannot 100 to 0 you. It would be fucking insane if they can. You would have to misplay that very, very hard. But since all this happens, we get punished for the decisions that we made. ADC doesn't recall. Mid resets a little late. Our jungle passing to the red side. And their jungle just comes over and takes a free dragon. And then he just can easily open into our blue side if he really wanted to, because his bot lane is here. Ours is just now starting to reset, right? Thankfully, Trump is kind of just about insane champ. Alright, last note of the game is insane to me for how this shit played out. First dead, we commit a teleport from our mid laner. And then we come over here and we look to kill them. We realize we can't kill them. What do we need to do? So, we committed a teleport. We have 12 seconds on our ADC, right? So all we really need to do is just send Varus mid off spawn. Syndra has quite clearly finished her quest. We watched Varys finish his quest in real time. So we know they're both done. They don't need to be fucking shackled to their lanes anymore. They're free. Dobby is a free elf. So now, since we still have Syndra ulti, all we really need to do is just push this wave in and then allow our wave to walk down the wave. We just let Karma tank like one tower shot since she has a shield in her kit, and then we just dive them. Look at this Milio. One rotation from Syndra and they're dead, and then she can still pop R onto the Lucian. He is a cleanse ADC. He has no barrier, he has no bitches, no anything. He will die. This should be a double kill and a tower. It is insane that we're not getting this and then also getting the next wave, and then we can look to let our Trundle come in and then just hit a camp and then hit another camp. Their jungler is dead. They can't play the game. Sion is still throwing fucking hands with Gragas, keeping him entertained and thinking and letting the Gragas think he's actually playing the game and being fucking productive. Sion's getting a free fucking lane because he can't physically die anymore unless he does something dumb. But we missed a insane sequence here. So let's lock in a little bit. Alright. GG.